you need to empower the youngsters. And at times this season with the Golden State Warriors, it didn't feel like the youngsters were empowered. Instead, the youngsters got a lot of the blame. Oh, especially early on. The youngsters, they're holding everything back, blah, 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 blah. They got a lot of the blame. But it didn't seem like a lot of the veterans bought into helping these youngsters out. And that's the problem. But the coach, it starts with the coach. You got to empower these guys. You got to make them feel involved with the team. It felt like there was 2 basketball teams this year on one. You know what I'm saying?
But one thing that I think I see a lot of people is like, oh, you can have 1 or 2, but you can't have that many. Well, here would be my counter to that. They were forced to have that many because of the salaries that they have currently that are so bloated. And it's part of what happens in the NBA. You only have 2 pathways to filling out the rest of the roster via the draft on dirt cheap contracts and vet mins, right? Mm-hmm. So you could say, Joe, they should have had more vet mins. Okay, fine. Then you would have had more JaMychal Greens. JaMychal Green didn't really do a whole lot for you. So I understand trying to pull the lottery ticket and say, hey, maybe this hits.
But think of the luxury they had. Do
you get what I'm going
I know exactly. Yeah, no doubt. But think about, to that point, they had 3 lottery picks in 2 years with the team that had Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson coming back, and Andrew Wiggins. And then you had Kevon Looney. Think about how beneficial that is to a franchise to sit there with the core group that's won championships. And oh, by the way, we're going to have 3 lottery picks. This is what derailed the Celtics in the 80s. They had Burt, McHale, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge. They get the number 1 pick, and they get Len Bias. And Len Bias passes away, but Len Bias was going to be that guy to extend the career with Reggie Lewis, extend the career, Brian Shaw, of a Larry Bird, of a Robert Parrish, and a Kevin McHale. The Lakers got lucky like that when they got James Worthy, right? Mm-hmm. James Worthy, number 1 overall pick, to add to Kareem and Magic Johnson, and boom, you hit the ground running there, and they extend the careers of a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So the Warriors were lucky, and it was beneficial for them to have 3 lottery picks to add to this core. And now we're talking about trading Jonathan Kaminga. So now you trade off 2 pieces of the lottery picks. And what do you have to show for it? What do you have to show for it?
Well, here's the other element of this, because he was comparing the Giants currently and where the Warriors are at. And baseball is very different, and there's lots of innings. So there's like an inventory of games that just makes it different. It's just very, very different. But would you agree? Casey Schmidt's trying to come for whatever the heck Brandon Crawford has it short. For now, right? I think Brandon Crawford's handled it quite gracefully.
He's handled it great.
Right?
He's embraced Casey Schmidt.
Exactly.
He's embraced that, hey, I know my days are done. My days are numbered, I should say. Let me teach this kid and impart some of the wisdom that I gained. Because guess what? Somebody took in Brandon Crawford when he came up.
Last 3 weeks, though, has Brandon Crawford not delivered when they needed him to?
Big time hits.
Right? And so I think when I look at someone like Draymond in particular and be like, hey, have you truly embraced your evolving role and your leadership status?
Well, if you want to, and we got to give out the keyword in just a second here. We'll get to Tamir. Let's be real. How did 2019 play out for some of the youngsters? Jordan Poole got better as that season went along, and he went down to the G League, and he came back, and he got better. I remember people laughing at his improvement, saying, yeah, whatever. You know, Eric Paschall was leading the team in scoring that year. Did Draymond Green do a great job of leading that team to 15 wins?
No. Not by, in my estimation, it felt very like, hey, we're out of it, so I'm going to quit.
And then he admitted to basically just laying down.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how does that stick with the franchise? How does that stick with youngsters? When they know that, saying, boy, we were in the foxhole, and our vet didn't lead us the way. He didn't lead us to the promised land. Or our vet basically said, you know what? I'm going to mail out. I'm going to tune out a little bit here. That's a problem. That's a problem. By the way, let's give out this keyword the first time we're doing it. You and a guest get to go to Chase Center. Chase Center to go to the introductory press conference for the Warriors draft and the upcoming NBA draft next Thursday. Next Thursday, right? No, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. NBA draft coming up. Here's the first keyword. Text that word to 20357. Get to YouTube and Twitch right now. We teased it. Get there right now. And we're going to be doing this between 7 and 9. 7 and 9. I'll be giving you guys warning, but get on YouTube and Twitch all day long. Subscribe to our page. Text that word right now to 20357. Let's go to our main man, Tamir in Oakland. Tamir, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. I think without listening to everything, and you guys are hitting it on the point. But me coaching sports, like high school, I have freshmen all the way up to seniors and stuff. I think that you can win with coaching youngsters, and I'll call my juniors and seniors vets, because they have to, like, I think Anthony just said, get the buy into the system. But it's also on your coaching, too. You have to be able to put your faith in those youngsters and let them know that you believe in them as well. You can't be, like Joe was saying, snatching them out, like, when they make one mistake, or, like, having the older players chastise them and making them feel like they're not welcome part of that team. And you guys just hit it on the point, too. Like, the older players have to be accepting the road, like, oh, we may not be the same dudes we were before. So these young dudes are just as hungry, and they're trying to play. Like Kaminga, you know he wants to play. And no offense to Draymond, like, he hasn't developed a jump shot in how many years he's been in the league, and Kaminga's already putting that work in. So as a coach, you have to accept those things and be able to let the youngsters play. So I think it's a cop-out sometimes when coaches say, oh, a young person can't help my team if they didn't go to college or whatever, because just because they went to college and won championships or something, there's always that young dude or stud that can always help your team if you put him in the right places for him to excel.
Good call, Tamir. Good to hear from you, brother. Hope you and the family are doing well. He's on point there. By the way, just got sidetracked for a little bit here. Karl-Anthony Towns, have you heard or seen what he's been talking about?
No.
He was on Patrick Beverley's podcast yesterday or the day before, and he basically said when he retires, he's going to leave his impact on the game. Basically, he said that he's going to change the game, or that he would have changed the game.
Okay, Jay-Z.
Now, another thing he just said was that Minnesota winning in the play-in tournament was more impressive than the Denver Nuggets winning a championship. Now, we will pull the sound to hear what Karl-Anthony Towns said, but the only reason why I bring it up is because Karl-Anthony Towns is on the list. It's Steiny and Guru. We're talking about him. Again, the more I talk about Karl-Anthony Towns, the more out I am on him. I was, like, receptive to it. I was open to it, but I'm like, nah. No.
Change the game, huh?
Change the game. Change the game. Change the game.
Wait, his play-in tournament win against the Thunder was more impressive, but he had just lost a play-in game like 2 days prior to that to the Lakers. What?
We'll get that sound. We'll rack it up. We'll play it on the other side. But Karl-Anthony Towns, the more he talks, the more I'm like, nah, he's not a winning player, a championship player. So what do you do with Jonathan Kaminga? Is it salvageable here in Golden State? Is Steve Kerr the guy for him? What happens next year? Because if they don't change, we're talking about Jordan Poole, right? And if the Warriors don't do anything drastic this season, where's Jordan Poole going to start? But what does that mean for Jonathan Kaminga if GP2 and Andrew Wiggins is still here?
And Draymond?
And Draymond and Looney. Where's that leave Jonathan Kaminga?
What is Jonathan Kaminga right now for the Warriors?
I think you could play him in a dunker role. You could have him go out to the corner 3. He's a 4 or 5, but I think he has a potential to be a 3. I think he has potential to be a 3. He guards 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. But I don't get fixated again on whether or not he's a 3 or a 4. I just know he's a basketball player who can help your team win.
And what's he got? 1 year after this left on his contract?
You could extend him. You could the 5th-year option, right?
What are you going to give him?
I don't know.
It's 4th. I think it's
4th-year option. Yeah, 4th-year option.
I could be wrong, though.
No, that's coming up. So you got to make a decision on him.
I mean, who do you have more of a feel for who you want to pay, Trey Lance or Kaminga, when it comes to those options? Like, I feel like I've seen a little more of Kaminga, but I'm still
seen a lot more of Kaminga.
I know, but I'm still like, what's the long-term game plan here? I don't think the Warriors know.
I don't think the Warriors know right now either. Well, we're going to find out shortly because Draymond Green has a decision on June 29th to opt into his deal. What if he doesn't opt in? What does that mean?
I'm getting a lot of flack on YouTube for my shirt today. I just want to make sure that we're set.
Oh, the dad shirt?
Do you know how old this shirt is?
It's pretty old.
This is pre-World Series. I have 89 pennants on here. I have 2002 pennants on here. There are no World Series emblems on this. That's how old this shirt is.
I'm happy for you. I had a shirt like that. I had to give it away.
And the shirt that I'm wearing for those that are listening on the radio is a Giants I don't even know what you
It's a
call
dad
it.
shirt.
Like a collage.
It's the dad shirt.
Is it like a collage?
It's what the OGs wear.
Don't you like it?
Yeah, I had one. I told you, I just had one.
Well, you're an old white guy, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I had one.
Kind of like a Hawaiian shirt, but like baseball feel to it. Yeah.
That's a good take for it. It's the OG shirt. You always the OG Giants fans who have been been a fan for a lot longer. That's a great shirt on them. So it looks on you, Shasky.
I feel like me and Nick Friedel should be playing like chess against each other in Miami while I'm wearing this shirt. No?
I don't
Why
agree
Miami?
with that, Nick.
Yeah, why
I don't
Miami?
know. I don't know because it's
And why Nick Friedel?
because Nick, when I saw that photo that he posted online of him in like a Cubano hat or a Havana hat, I think it's called a Havana hat. I forget what the name of the hat is, and he's smoking a Cubano. I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of man
Nick
right there.
smoking Cubanos now?
I don't know if you know this,
Oh,
but you don't get a voice like that.
Oh boy,
Drinking water.
he does have.
That's a great point, Joe, and let me tell you why.
Exactly. Nothing is better than when I
Whoa.
ask a great question to him, and he says, that's a great question.
He says that to everybody.
I'm like, I love when a journalist tells me that.
He says that to everybody. The great question.
Never heard him say it to you.
No, oh, he said it to me plenty of times.
That's a great question.
Oh, but B
Does it to Kellerman every
no,
day.
he does it to me. B, that's such a great point. You know who else used to do it? My boy Bubba, JP Morosi. Oh, that's a great question, Bonte. And we would do the drink logo. He would
I just
say
asked how
great
you were
question.
doing today, Nick and JP.
All right, what's coming up in the game? Sponsored by 7-Eleven. Loveman's going to kill me. We'll talk more Kaminga. We'll get back into the Giants. Brett Boone's going to join us at 8 o'clock, former Major Leaguer. Brett Boone, he talked to John Miller and got 2 questions in.